What's going on, guys? This is the Brigade once again, and we're back at it with a little Killzone. But this time around, this will not be the walkthrough. Like I said before, if you guys are kind of familiar with the channel, you'll know that within the last two uploads, what I did was I did a couple videos of the Let's Play series for Killzone 2, and I also said that I was going to include some multiplayer from Killzone 3. Right, so here we go with the multiplayer. This is like the bread and butter, in my personal opinion, of the Killzone franchise. Now, all the opinions that I have about how great Killzone is, because I've read some of the comments and they'll say something like, well, Killzone isn't all that, and I prefer Halo, or I prefer Call of Duty, or I prefer Battlefield. Well, listen, dudes, I'm not trying to make an argument and to convince other people of what they should like to the same extent as I do, right? I'm just basically sharing my opinion of a franchise that I absolutely love. So, enough about that, because we basically talked about that during the last two uploads. So let's just go ahead and go into it. Now, I am playing the role of my favorite faction, which is the Helghast. I covered it briefly. Basically, the Helghast are, I don't really necessarily want to say good guys, but they're definitely not the bad guys. I'll put it that way, right? So it's kind of like they're indifferent. Now, what exactly do I mean by indifferent? Well, like I said before, I kind of touched up on it, and I think once I continue with the walkthrough, I'll go more into the lore details of the story. But what happened was, the Earth was basically out of there, right? So they needed some new land masses or planets to occupy, right? So basically, I forget the name of the corporation. I think it's like the Helghan Corporation. It was a business, actually. They made a purchase of this landmass, right? And at the time, no one wanted it, right? Because the ground was harsh, the resources were kind of out of there, and they really didn't see anything that would be profitable out of, kind of occupying this landmass. So after being there for a while, the Helghast actually did a good job. Now, granted, it kind of took a toll on their bodies, which is why they have to wear these masks, right? The reason why they have to wear the mask was because, as time went on, their body had to adjust, and they need these breathing apparatuses in order to make their survivability a little more likely. Right, so that's the whole story behind the mask. And like I said before, this is just a real brief walkthrough, but once I return to the Let's Play of the Killzone 2 series, I'm going to go more and more in detail, right? Because I'm just kind of popping off at the top of my head, but I don't really have the script or the story right in front of me. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh myself to the details, right? Because I know there will be a lot of fact checkers out there, right? So I'm going to go ahead and familiarize myself with the details, and then once we head right on back into it with the Let's Play, I'll go ahead and have a nice little conversation about the backstory of Killzone. Alright, so enough about that. So basically, like I said before, the Helghast is basically my favorite faction. Now, of course, I'll include some uploads with me also being on the ISA, because the game is the game. I'm just basically saying that what my preferences are based upon the backstory, right? So when I'm playing as a Helghast, I really feel like I need to play as good as I can, right? Because we're all doing it for the cause of the planet. Alright, so enough about that. Now, this is one of my favorite classes, and this is the engineer class. And a lot of people have their preferences. One thing that I've noticed is that a lot of people love the tactician, and basically the job of the tactician, as a matter of fact, let me kind of go over the classes. Now, you have, I think it's 4 or 5 classes. I can't really remember off the top of my head, but perhaps I'll remember as I talk about it. You have 4 or 5 classes, right? You have the tactician, you have the medic, you have the sniper, you have the infiltrator, and you have the engineer. Okay, so that's 5 classes. The engineer is basically the type of person, he's kind of He's got the heavy weapons, and as you guys can see, he can go ahead and fix ammo crates, and he can also set up turrets. Right? In addition to setting up turrets, he can also hack turrets. So if he kind of run up on an opposing turret, to the extent that the turret doesn't kill him, he can run up on it and successfully hack it, right? So that it will engage the enemy. Okay, so that's, like I said before, that's one of my favorite classes. The second class that I like the most is the Infiltrator. Now, the Infiltrator is all about speed and disguise, right? So, I mean, whenever you're kind of doing these Warzone missions, such as destroying the target, or maybe even finding a target. And the difference between destroying the target and finding one, let me just kind of, to the extent that you guys may not be familiar, let me just kind of go over with it. Now, destroy the target is kind of like one of those side missions where I guess a position of interest, I guess you might call it, is selected, and you basically have to set 2 explosions, right? And you basically have to defend it until you destroy that area, right? So that's kind of, I forget the name of it off the top of my, oh, it's search and destroy. That's the name of it. You're supposed to find the objective and destroy it. Okay, and then you have the other target, which is actually a person. Right, so the game will, randomly pick one person out of your team, and that person either has to hide real good, or the team have to defend them so that that person cannot be killed. Right, so if you're an infiltrator, I mean, the search and destroy, the infiltrator is probably your best bet, right? Because they can set those explosions the fastest, and they can come in with disguises, and they also have infinite stamina as long as you have that particular character upgraded, right? So he can run real fast. You don't have to worry about his stamina meter going down, because if you notice, if you guys look to the lower left-hand corner, right, you have the health bar on the top, and just under that you have the stamina bar. So you guys will notice as I'm running, you'll see it slowly depleting. Okay, so that's my stamina bar. And if you guys notice right now, I think I switched. Yeah, I did switch. Right now I am the infiltrator, because you can tell by the icon on the lower left hand side of the screen. You guys see that mask? That means I have my disguise in place. Well, actually I don't have it right now, and that's why it's resetting. So once it resets, okay, now here's the objective, and there's a target. And actually I wasn't able to neutralize them. So, oh well. Hopefully the team will be able to satisfy that objective. Okay, so enough about that. So like I said before, you have the engineer with the heavy equipment. He can set up turrets and ammo crates. And then you have the infiltrator that specializes with speed and disguise. He can set those bombs real fast. Okay, and then you have the medic, which, I mean, I think pretty much the medic is the same probably in any first-person shooter. That's basically the type of person who can revive fallen soldiers on the battlefield, right? So he can basically heal you, and as long as you have that particular character upgraded, not only will he heal you, but you'll have not only your standard health, but you'll have additional health buffer in addition to the full load of additional magazines and additional grenades, or what do you call those things? Mines, I guess you want to call them. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head. Okay, so then you have the sniper, which I don't even think we need to talk about. The sniper is basically the class that I hate the most, right? Because a lot of these guys who get snipers is usually one of those guys that came from like the Call of Duty franchise, and they care about their kill death ratios, and they're the ones that, they like having that 50 kills and 1 death type ratio. But it's boring, right? Because this is not Call of Duty. This is not Battlefield. This is not any other game. So in my personal opinion, actually I won't even say in my opinion, I'll just say based upon my own type of play style, and you guys can see for yourself, I'm not a camper type of player, right? I'm not really the type, well, I mean, You guys kind of see me camping that area right there. But I'm not the type of person to just sit back in a corner, lay low, wait for people to run by, and then get my little easy wins. No, I'm ready to engage, because if you guys notice, I mean, I'm running around. I mean, I'm dropping mines, I'm dropping grenades, I'm shooting at whatever target I can, doing melee, doing shots, setting up my turrets. I'm doing everything to kill as many of these ridiculous ISAs as I can. Alright, so I got a good melee attack right there. Alright, so like I said before, so, the sniper class, like I said before, you don't really have to talk anything about that because it's pretty much standard data. And the thing that helps the sniper class the most is that they have two options. They have one option wherein they can turn off your radar, just like right now. If you guys notice in the upper left hand corner, my radar is blurred, and that was because there was a sniper there. And there's a sniper right there. So he can basically disable your radar, which is one option. And then they have like a temporary invisibility. Now it's not total invisibility, but it almost functions like the fog ring, wherein it's kind of hard for you to notice them unless they're moving. Now, the more stationary they are, the harder it is for you to see them unless you are really paying attention. Because even though, even if they're at a total standstill, it is a lot difficult to kind of notice them, especially if you're kind of running and gunning and shooting around. There's a lot of things going on. If you kind of pay close attention to detail, I mean, it's kind of like the Predator, right? You will be able to see some flashing lights over their body. Alright, so that's the medic, that's the infiltrator, that's the engineer. We covered the sniper. Okay, and then, like I said before, there is the tactician. Now, the tactician probably has the most important job of Killzone 3 multiplayer, because they are totally responsible for capturing the spawn points. Now, the spawn points, the ability to capture and maintain these spawn points basically determines the game, right? Because if you guys notice, like you guys see that green light over there, and you guys will see it again, or one of those areas from where I will spawn. If you do not capture those, then that means that your opposition basically has control of the battlefield, right? Because you will only be able to spawn in your home base, and your opposition will be able to spawn at an area that's a lot more convenient than their own home base. So it really gives them a huge advantage. And this is why, for the most part, whenever I start a multiplayer, I can always tell if I'm playing with noobs, right? Because there's one or two indicators that I have for myself, and I could be wrong, but most experienced players, they understand the importance of capturing the spawn point, number one, and getting these ammo crates filled, number two. Well, actually, let me take that back. There's kind of three things. The first thing, and this is just how I play, I know everyone have their own preferences, but the first thing is for the infiltrators to hurry up, get down to the spawn points, and defend it. Lay down those mines, disguise yourself, and wait for the arrival of the tactician, right? Because think about it, if the infiltrators can disguise themselves and they can run the fastest and don't have to worry about stamina drain, they should be the ones racing down to the spawn point, almost like scouts in the military squad, right? So their job should be to rush down to the spawn point and defend it until the tactician arrives. Once the tactician arrives, their job is to capture it so that the rest of the team can spawn in that area. Lastly, you have the engineers that are really important, because think about it. You guys can run and gun all day long, but if you run out of ammo, then what you're going to do? So you guys are going to notice, even though I'm busy popping off as always in the brigade, I am always keeping in mind the spawn points, because you guys are going to notice, even though I may be getting some good kills in here, every now and then you're going to notice that I'm going to run by and make sure that the ammo crates are full, because this is my job, right? So there's another ammo crate right there. So that's my job, because in other words, how can my team get a lot of kills if they're running out of ammo and really have no other area to replenish it? And this is why these three are probably the most important. Now, obviously, this is not to suggest that the medic or the sniper is not important. I'm just saying those three, in my personal opinion, can help make or break a game. Definitely, they can help make or break a game. All right, so enough about that quick rundown about the 5 classes. You guys notice I'm over here doing my job because I'll notice, like I said before, this is how I can tell when I'm playing with noobs. When I spawn into a game, and let's just say I'm playing the role as let's just say a medic, and then I'll just say within the first minute I still notice that none of the ammo crates are full, then that's an indicator of one of two things. Either one, I have a selfish team that only care about killing a lot of people and not necessarily doing things for the benefit of the team. Or number two, that I'm playing with noobs. Right? If, I spawn as a medic and after the first minute I realize that no one is even trying to capture a spawn point, that's like another indicator. Right? So ammo crates and the capturing of spawn points. If I notice that is not like the first two things that my team is going after, it's basically like, oh well, I just might as well go ahead and play for myself. Now, in this particular series, and actually the first few uploads that I'm going to do, I'm not really going to be participating that much in the objectives. And here's why. Now, on my Martyrs Brigade 99 profile, I have that thing maxed out. I've got all the rewards, all the weapons. I'm like a 4 or 5 star general. I'm like at the top rank. But just recently, within the last week or two, when I decided to go ahead and jump back on the Killzone bandwagon, I said, you know what, I'm going to start this thing from scratch. So I think my current rank right now is kind of like Sergeant Major or something like that. So in other words, how I upgrade my own character, I use the 2 character builds that I like the most, which is the Engineer and the Infiltrator. And once I max those out, I don't really worry about doing anything else, because in other words, since those are my 2 favorite builds or character classes, I already know that I'm going to get a lot of points, right? I already know, because like I said before, you guys will not see, I didn't call myself Martyrs Brigade for nothing. And for a lot of you guys that never heard how the name Martyrs Brigade came, it was from Killzone 2 and with the multiplayer, right? I had a clan, I called it the Brigade, and we were killing so many people in Killzone 2, I just called it the Martyrs Brigade. So if you guys would notice, I am not one of those campers. I will not be sitting back in a corner and waiting, right? I will be engaging, running, engaging, and doing as much as I can to help the team. Alright, so like I said before, this is one of my favorite maps. This is like the Akmir Snowdrift, and I will have a couple other uploads coming up in the near future of the multiplayer, and then right after that we'll dive right on back into the Killzone 2 walkthrough, or the Let's Play. Alright, so this is the Search and Destroy mission. And if you guys notice those 2 icons, that's basically telling the opposition where their targets are, right? So they're trying to invade our home base so that they can set these explosives, right? So that's basically why we're sitting back in this area and trying to defend it the best way that we can. Alright, so we're kind of good to go over here, and here's me kind of taking my squad for granted, because I'm thinking like, these clowns are not going to catch me, because basically I'm trying to emplace a turret, because most of these people don't look up, and placing those turrets in an elevator position is like the best thing you can do, because a lot of these clowns don't even notice it, right? And they shoot rockets, they shoot standard weapons, and they're good to go, right? You can definitely get a lot of kills with the fully upgraded turrets. So, alright guys, this is pretty much it for the multiplayer. I think I did a 52 kills and 32 death streak, I did pretty good. And like I said, this is just me being kind of rusty. And I also kind of need to brush up on my quick scoping, right? Because I know you high speed guys are real proficient on that quick scope. So maybe with a little more experience, I'll be there. So, alright guys, this is pretty much it. You guys can go ahead and watch the last couple minutes of the upload. I hope you enjoyed it. So, until next time, Martyrs Brigade is out.
Sons and daughters of Helghan, your destiny beckons. Stand with your brothers and sisters. Stand with me, and together we will be undefeated. The past is our faith. The present is our strength. And the future is our birthright!